I've said a few times, I'm sure to many of the classes through the year as you've come to Mass, that there are special saints, special people who are there to care for us and to look after us and to guide us and to help us on our journey as friends of Jesus. And such saints are the people perhaps who's associated with your name. Saint Daniel, Saint John, Saint Charles, Saint Helen, there's lots and lots of names associated with people who are our saints, who are there in heaven looking after us. And today, for me, is one of those special saints, Saint Mary Magdalene. And we hear a bit about the end of her story in the Gospel which we've just listened to. Saint Mary Magdalene was somebody who had a past. We know that she had a past, that in her past she made some bad choices. But despite those bad choices that she made, Mary Magdalene was somebody who was a perseverer, somebody who recognized these bad choices and wanted to leave those things of the past behind. And so she turned around, left the past and those bad choices in the past and forged the way forward to a new friendship, this time with Jesus. And this friendship with Jesus took it from the time of Jesus' teaching through to a really tough time in Jesus' life when he was put on trial and was crucified. And throughout all of that, throughout all of the persecution, such was her transformation, her change, her conversion, that she stayed close to Jesus, even through the trials. And what do we see? We get to the point in the story today where Mary Magdalene makes her way to the tomb. Jesus had died, if you remember, he was placed in the tomb. And then Mary Magdalene, with some of the other ladies, was going to the tomb to look after the body, to put the herbs and spices and make sure everything was right. And of course, he is not there. And of course, we are privileged. We know where Jesus is and what's happened. But Mary doesn't know that yet. And so she's a bit confused, a bit upset. This journey that had just been made, and now things have gone. The person who had helped her make that journey from those bad choices to those good choices has now gone. They've taken the body somewhere and they don't know where he is. And then Mary sees somebody in the distance who she thinks is the gardener. And so she goes and pleads with him, as anybody would. Where is Jesus? And it's only when Jesus uses Mary's name, and that's all he says, if you remember from just a little minute ago, Mary, that there's a recognition moment. And so she goes then, she's instructed to go to the other disciples, who, if you remember, all run away. When the going got tough, the disciples run away. They were all hiding in a house somewhere for fear that they were going to be next. Mary didn't, though. She stayed close to Jesus, close to the cross. And now Jesus says, go and tell my disciples that I'm getting ready for the next part of my journey, and that's to ascend to my Father in heaven. And so what does she do? She goes off and she goes and tells those disciples. And so Mary, this person who has a past, who made bad choices, who changed her life around because of an experience and a special moment with Jesus, is now called by the church the apostle to the apostles. She is the first apostle. She is the first person to go out and to proclaim that Jesus is risen. And so when the day came for me to choose a day to be ordained a priest, to become a priest, this is the day that the Archbishop asked me to be ordained on, the Feast of Mary Magdalene, because she is a good example setter for all of us about how all of us are called to be followers of Jesus. Or no matter what bad choices we make in our past, we always have the opportunity to change, to say sorry for them. And I know that lots of us in school have had the opportunity to do that in the sacrament of reconciliation. If you remember back in Lent, to say sorry, to have that new start, and allow that meeting with Jesus to be something that changes us, that enables us, like Mary then, to go and to share the good news. And in the summer holidays, as you go to your new schools in September, that's what Jesus charges us to do. That's what Jesus invites you to do, to keep sharing that good news, to keep taking all of those things that you've learned over the last years with your teachers, those virtues that you've been practicing, and to make those virtues real by sharing them with others in the new school, whether it be St. Albans, Cwmbran High, Crossiciliog, all of those things. And so Mary Magdalene today is a great spiritual friend of all of ours. She has a lot to teach us and a lot to show us about how we can be apostles to the apostles, how we can continue to share that good news of Jesus.